Hello and welcome to Points of Interest. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, along with my co-host James over here.
Hey guys.
If you're new to the show, each week we come to you, mostly each week we come to you, with video game stories from around the internet. Yeah, mostly.
I mean,
we
it
try.
works. It works.
We'll talk
Ups
about
and
it later.
downs. It's summer.
Yep.
It's summer.
It's
It's
summer. We're
okay,
busy.
guys. You guys get us.
But you get the audio version of this show on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and the video versions on YouTube and VidMe. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IRGames. Stay up to date with all the videos we're putting out. We're in the middle of a 30-day vlog challenge right now, so our channel looks a little different. We don't have Let's Plays going up regularly right now. We have these little vlogs that we alternate on doing every day through pretty much the end of July. So make sure you head over and check that out.
And actually, new with this podcast, we're actually going to have the video version up on Facebook this time. Starting putting some of our videos on Facebook. We've been doing it with the vlogs. We're going to toss this up there and just, so if you guys are watching from Facebook, hello, comment below and let us know. Just trying new things, Getting more eyeballs on the channel is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
At least that's what my mom always said.
Ta-da!
Doo-doo-doo.
Jumping in.
Yeah.
New on-demand subscription-based video game service called Jump is preparing to launch, offering an initial library of 60 to 100 indie games playable for a flat monthly fee of $9.99 per month. What do you think of this, James?
I'm not sold.
Yeah.
I'm not sold. It's it sounds cool. It's a cool concept, right? You've got 60 to 100 indie games playable, flat monthly fee, $9.99 a month. It's trying to be like a Netflix or Spotify service for
it does stream.
gaming.
It's not like Xbox Game Pass where it downloads to your system first and
Right.
then you play.
It's a lot like PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now also is streaming games.
Such a
from
rip-roaring
old-
success of PlayStation Now.
I mean, if you're going to compare the two with the game library of PlayStation Now versus what
Yeah.
Jump is talking about,
That's
there's no
where
contest.
PlayStation Now kind of wins over.
That's
Jump.
my concern
Yeah.
when we jump into this is because it's courting indie games, right? We're not
Yeah.
going to be playing Destiny on this. We're not going to be playing like Halo 3 on this. Like that's not the
Yeah.
goal of this service. So
I mean, there's some good indie games. I mean, you look at some of the indie games in the Steam market, you get things like Five Nights at Freddy's.
yeah.
Like, there's still some big names in the indie game marketplace. So I don't know how many of things of that known caliber we see in something like Jump.
Yeah.
But some quick notes about it
Mhm.
is I've lost because I put a lot of notes down here. Unlike most on-demand gaming services, which suffer from poor latency due to their reliance on cloud streaming technology, Jump uses a web-based technology that allows them to launch the games directly in the Jump client. So that helps in the sell a little bit for me. It's like, okay, that's my big issue with doing streaming services. Is like, yes, I have good internet, but I live in an apartment complex right now.
Right.
So I don't get all the internet that I pay for. That's just the long and short of that deal.
It's true.
And so it's like, all right, what happens when everyone jumps on the internet at the same time and I'm playing a game that really needs me to be like on it, and now I've got latency. I'm yelling and screaming.
It's always
about
a
that.
concern. I think PlayStation Now handles it decently well, and it's altogether a different thing than this. But I feel like if PlayStation Now can figure that out with much bigger games, something like indie games, I'm not as concerned about that for this. They've got leaderboards, achievements, cloud saves, matchmaking, multiplayer, all handled through third party service called.
Oh, welcome to the party. Could I interest you in a drink?
So they're handled through a third party service called PlayFab. Most notably allows you to carry your saves over onto the new devices. Kind of cool, not revolutionary in any way. It's almost all that stuff you kind of come to expect with video games.
Yeah.
One of the things that threw me off here as they're talking about bringing in games and stuff, they say they work with developers specifically to make sure they're bringing their games to us in the right time in their life cycle. We want them to turn their premium sales cycle on Steam or Xbox or wherever. And once those sales dip off to a certain point, then it's a better time to bring it over to us. So we're not getting big titles. We're not getting new games. We're getting games that have already had their run on other platforms, from what it sounds like. So where's the benefit of paying $10 per month for indie games, not very many, and games that have probably already played somewhere else? That's my concern.
I think the idea for this would be is not for people like us, where if we were in the marketplace, like look at someone like Markiplier. He buys all the indie games when they come out on Steam and plays them for his channel. This isn't a service for him. This is a service to the people that watch his content. So I go back and I watch a video that he did of a game. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then I like load up Jump. Bam! There it is right there. I already paid $10 a month for it. I'll just grab it now. Same reason like brand new things don't come to Netflix. I mean, they do now because Netflix series. But movies come out on Netflix that like, yes, I may own, but I will just watch it on Netflix now because it's here. I don't have to re-download it to my system.
Yeah, or you can go grab a disc and stick it in or anything.
Exactly.
Like
There's several quotes here from. I failed to get his name. I got part of it. Nope, that's not him. Anthony Palma, CEO.
there you go.
That's what it is. I got several quotes from him, so just kind of bear with me here. That one you read is a quote from him as well. Quote, we want this to be quote, we want this to be the logical next step of life cycle of content. If you think about the parallel to the movie industry, a movie goes on premium sales through theaters, and when those sales start to dip off, they take to other avenues and eventually end up at a subscription service like HBO or Netflix or wherever that doesn't exist in gaming right now, and particularly not for indies. End quote. On one level, it doesn't exist, but on another level, it's always for sale.
Yeah.
You can't always go see movies in the theater. I didn't really think about that until I just read it right now.
It works, but it doesn't work. It's
the logic is
flawed logic.
like it's just like barely on the edge of it.
It would be like if you could go play video games on like a huge 8K theater screen for like the first 3 weeks the game comes out. And now you have to go get it for your lowly computer.
Yeah.
Like I just don't see the draw for it. I like that's only $10 a month. That's pretty cheap in terms of even if you just want to try it out, $10 a month, play a few games every now and then. That's
maybe
great.
For $10 you probably bought. On Steam, you probably bought 4 or 5 indie games.
I mean, there's most games that you're going to get are going to be $10 or more. So you're basically paying one game a month. You can play unlimited indie games.
And you also you don't have to go through the process of like buying it from Steam, playing it for an hour, not liking it, and then going through the reimbursal process of Steam.
Yep, it's all just right there.
So it is kind of nice. I like some parts of this, like where they say they don't get it new on the subscription service so that teams can make their money, which is super important in the indie world. Quote, we don't want to cannibalize any premium sales. Our goal is to extend revenue for them, not take it away from them. We just take 70% of our net revenue versus our full revenue. We pay that to the developers based on the amount of time their games got played, overall the total minutes of gameplay. End quote. So it's a good deal as I think as an indie developer to be like, all right,
it's better than not.
We had our burn, like we ran through Steam, like we got into what is it called now? Not Greenlight, the new Steam thing,
right?
Steam Explorer, and we kind of fell off there, so we're just gonna go to Jump, and then our game gets played a little bit more there. We get a little bit more money. We can maybe finance our next game now.
It's interesting. It's hard to sell me on a platform that's just indie games, and sounds like it's always going to be indie games.
Yeah,
I'm just not all that sold on it. Sure, there's some great indie titles in there, but there's also a lot of crap ones. And I don't know if I'm going to pay $10 to have 60 to 70 crappy games at my disposal. Yeah. And they will add games every month. They just didn't really give a ton of details about it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how it develops. When you're talking about the revenue, they were estimating that it would be 25 to 50 cents per 1 hour of playtime per user, which I mean, it's probably more than you get in a lot of other places. So it's an interesting model.
It could be.
I think this is going to be a beta thing for what, like it's going to more or less be like beta, like the first iteration, and then 5 years down the road, we'll actually see a real service that's worthwhile for it, that gives you like bigger games for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like it could be kind of like a stepping stone to getting the day and date release. You have a subscription service to games that you get. Yeah, X amount of games, and like, all right, I picked that one for the.
It's an interesting concept. Has to happen at some point, so go for it.
Yep.
I'm just not totally interested in it.
Not for us, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it is. Good
Moving on to the next story. Valve issued its biggest ban hammer in history following Steam summer sale. I just, we're not on Steam, and we don't participate in a lot of PC gaming right now, but man, that headline just like stuck out to me, and I had to dig into it.
Yeah, it's a real smasher.
As reported by .esports, allegedly players were buying these games at a discount on new Steam accounts so they could test the waters for various cheats. Should they get caught and their account banned, they still have their main account elsewhere operating normally. On the surface level, this is kind of a genius plan. Like, basic, but works. Like, okay, I got banned, whatever. I still have all my achievements and credit, whatever, on my other Steam account. Valve's anti-cheat software, VAC, was onto the gag and issued an astonishing 40,444 bans according to the Steam database.
I mean, that seems like a lot.
How many of that was like real? Like, wow.
Yeah, the previous record, if you're curious, 15,227 from October of last year.
That's crazy.
It is a lot. I think it's a good thing to crack down on.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I applaud.
Obviously, don't want cheaters.
No, I think it's kind of it's one thing we can get to just a second. According to the tracking on VAC banned, $7,388 worth of goods like cosmetic items were forfeited from this purge of cheaters. So it kind of sucks for them, like they lost money. But
I was gonna say,
don't
does
try
that
and cheat.
mean that those people actually spent real money on it, or did those cheats provide that much worth of like goods?
I don't know.
That's my question.
I don't know.
Oh,
Either
just
way, like I'm glad the
curiosity.
cheaters lost. I think it's cool if you can find a fun way to like break a game, like like the loot cave in Destiny when it first came out. It's like, yeah, you can break that, and then they'll just fix it later. Like you're not cheating anything. You're not really gaining that much out of it,
Yeah.
and it's not helping you in something like that. Like in a single player sense, like if you can cheat or whatever, like and it's not hurting multiplayer things or leaderboards, go for it.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. You're not hurting me. You're not hurting anybody else. But like in multiplayer settings, if you're cheating to like get ahead and you found a way to break that and like get ahead, it's like no. Just like if you're gonna play a multiplayer game, just get good at it, or accept the fact that you're just not gonna be that good at it.
Yeah.
That it's okay.
It's interesting because I don't know. There's literally software in Steam to prevent stuff like this, so I don't see the overall idea of continuing with it. Maybe they've just been tweaking the software and it's getting better. And it sucks that people want to cheat, and I'm glad that they're finding ways to stop it. I think one of the barriers between the PC gaming and the console gaming is that idea of like the cheaters and the hackers and stuff that you have on PCs, mainly just because of how you have access to all the files of the game, right?
Exactly.
You go in and edit anything you want, and sure, sometimes it takes some rooting around to really figure stuff out, but it's never anything we could do on PS4 or consoles
Just start typing
in
with my
general.
controller and all the code of the game.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. After PS3 got rid of Linux way long time ago, it's just you don't do that anymore.
No.
So it's good. It's if PC ever wants to be able to bring people over in droves, I think that's one of the big things, right? In Diablo 3, you still have on the PS4, if you had your characters from PS3 when the PS3 was having jailbreaks, then those characters got hacked. They carried them over to PS4, and so Diablo 3 is rife with cheaters on it on consoles because of past mistakes.
Yeah.
And that sucks. It's just
They were
you
grandfathered
can't really play like open lobbies for certain things because you'll have a cheater come in and just hack you up 100 levels without even like trying, and then it's like, well, that sucks, and it just feels wrong. So I can only imagine if there's a concern like that for a lot of your games, like hacked lobbies in multiplayer.
Yeah.
I remember old Call of Duty lobbies and stuff that had that from time to time, but you don't see that anymore on consoles. So it'd be nice to be able to cut that down on PCs. I realize it's always just going to be a thing. But it's good that they're
Hard to stop
making an effort on it for sure.
Props to Valve for cracking down on that mess.
Yeah.
Next headline that Jake grabbed for the sake of clickbait, both because it was clickbait for Jake and Jake wants to be clickbait for his podcast.
Hey, you know what? It takes one to get one to know one and have a thing. I'm not.
It's been a while. It's okay. I'll let that one slide. PS5 to launch in 2019 and will be, quote, another half step, quote, analyst predicts. Right there. That like almost negates everything in the entire article, which is good. It was right there in the headline.
I'm glad
and
that
I still read
negated
it, and I'm still glad we're talking about it.
Let's just you go over your notes. We'll start with that. That's probably the safer option.
Sony
right now.
may have only released the PlayStation 4 Pro at the end of last year, but more hardware could come as soon as 2019, according to one analyst. That's like the like I like this restaurant, but like like I went out with this girl last night, but
It's
everything said in this article you just take with like no.
it's like the asterisks next to like baseball players in the Hall of Fame, right?
Exactly.
I hit 700 home runs. Yeah, but you like double steroided your whole career. It's still like,
you carried 400 of those
Barry.
over the fence yourself.
Barry, come on, bro.
Shouldn't be there. Wedbush Securities Michael Pachter, sorry if I butchered your name. If you're listening to this, has told Gaming Bolt that he expects PlayStation 5 to launch 2019, and that it will be a quote half step similar to how in Pachter's view the PS4 Pro was a quote half step over the base PS4. Quote, the PS4 Pro is better from a technical perspective than the PS4, so I think that's a half step towards the PS5. He said, I think the PS5 will be another half step.
This guy's just straight stepping, huh?
Yeah. He added, my expectation is not that it's coming out in 2018, that it will be 2019 or 2020, but probably 2019. Sony is probably timing it better because they are going to bring out a 4K capable device when the 4K TV market reaches 50% in the USA and 35% in the rest of the world. End quote.
I mean,
End article.
obviously,
Usefulness.
the PS5 was going to do 4K. The PS4 Pro does 4K.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to make some outrageous things. One of the things that he saw, he said, how much faster can it be? It will surely support 4K. Will it support 240 frames per second? Great. Hold on a second. What? 240? 240. So 4 times what most games can't do yet on consoles. This is going to be a half a step up.
Not even sure they do that on PC yet, dude.
It's insane. Who wants to? I can tell you they don't if they want to actually play it at seeable resolutions. So obviously this is stupid and wrong and incorrect on so many levels. Because this is just some security analyst for some random like Fortune 500 or 100 or 8460 company. I don't even know.
This is big break into the gaming
This is the
journalism
stupidest thing. Like I don't understand where these analysts, like, he's just predicting this. He hasn't talked to anybody, doesn't have any sources. The source that GameSpot uses is Gaming Bolt. I don't know if you've ever heard of Gaming Bolt, but they have more ads on their website than actual website. It's annoying because I'm scrolling through the website.
Yeah, so I'm looking at your computer right now.
Ad. Like, this is...
want to play Valkyrie Drive now?
Oh, and then at the bottom, they have, like, the atrocious thumbnails of things you might be interested in.
Every gaming website has that. Eurogamer has that. You scroll down and it's like, you won't believe Rebel Wilson's weight loss. And it's like a picture of her face and then a picture of some, like, model's body next to it. I'm like, I don't believe you.
Yeah. I mean, if the PS5 launches in 2019, I would be surprised. I think we're far away from it. I think 2020 is a more realistic stance. Death Stranding would probably come out before the PS5, I would think.
Or it's a PS5 launch title.
Yeah, maybe. But
it'd be dumb.
It'd be really dumb
to have marketed it before. We've talked about Death Stranding enough. My question for you now is, James, how do we get to be that person in that article just like spouting off random predictions to GameSpot?
I mean,
like, Inverted Realities, James said, I think the PS10 will be out in 3012. Like, how do we get to be that making just ridiculous
I guess I could get into the analyst game and just like go start making predictions about tech companies. Like, I think Sony's going to have an 8K TV next year just for fun.
I think Sony's going to try and have a profitable division besides PlayStation in some near future.
I think Sony's going to start making laptops again because they did so well the last time they made laptops.
But seriously, Sony, we love you. We kid. We don't kid.
It's
you do you.
Such a stupid. I'm so annoyed that anything like that is given any airtime, and anyone takes it. It's just like clickbait on top of clickbait, on top of clickbait.
There's like a video running one of these.
So
things.
Terrible. I hate it. I'm just annoyed by it.
James,
I'm sorry that you brought it up.
It upsets me to see you upset. So I want to talk about something that makes you happy. Destiny 2. We've got Destiny 2 news on IGN. First boy has been. For how long it's been going now?
They've been going for it's been about a week and a half or so. They started they did the same thing, I think, with Destiny 1 with their huge birth of content, new thing every day. But they started doing this IGN first thing a couple of years ago, and they get a bunch of exclusive news first on IGN. Normally, I don't give IGN a grain of salt because it's IGN. I don't like them. They always just
Imagine Games Network.
So I'm just not a big fan of IGN, but they can get some of the scoops on stuff. Which is great.
I did listen to IGN for a while back there. Back before Kind of Funny existed.
Yeah, exactly.
I listened to Podcast Beyond.
That was about the last time IGN was really solid. So
yeah, well, the guy that wrote this article, Destin Legary, was on Podcast Beyond quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I do recognize some of the names from IGN occasionally when we roll across an article. I'm like, oh, hey, I know that person. I'm going to read this article.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some good people there. But anyway,
check this out when you
so this article here, it's updated every day, but they put out new info pretty much every day for the whole month of July. They've got stuff going for it. They're missing a couple days here and there, but it's all just new stuff or new videos or new developer commentary from Destiny 2. Some of the stuff we already knew at E3, some of the stuff we knew from the early launch details and things like that. But it's fun to get spoon-fed information directly from Bungie, right? We don't have IGN sit in front of the camera telling me a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
We've got Bungie developers, we've got game designers, we've got the writers, we've got the special effects guys, which is always fun. It's really cool to get kind of that boots on the ground feel from them. The newest one, which was yesterday, is the Sentinel Titan class.
Yeah.
So we've seen this before. It hasn't been playable yet. It will be in the beta coming up. I think maybe it was playable at E3, but we didn't really hear a lot about it. We knew that he had a shield, and that's what we knew.
The extent
He
of the
had a
information
shield,
we had.
right? So one of the big concerns with revamping some of the subclasses and completely redoing everything is what's going to happen to the Titan bubble. We hadn't seen anything. We saw Zavala use it in the very
trailer,
first
yeah.
cutscene, that trailer we saw in the reveal, but we hadn't really heard anything about how they were going to use it. So I kind of thought it was just gone. They're just going to use the shield, and they were moving on from it. Not the case. So now if you go into your you tap your shoulder buttons for your super, it'll go into your new shield one as normal. But if you hold the buttons down, your bubble drops. Now you have two supers in one, basically, right? You can obviously only do one or the other. But it all of a sudden gives you such an offensive option with a Void class, which isn't always like available, with the draining super, right? Being able to run around and use it. The Ward of Dawn, that's the bubble if you don't play Destiny. It looks bigger, looks almost twice the size as the one in Destiny 1.
It does look significantly larger.
One of the really cool things
Which is nice.
I'm going to jump around here in my notes, but
Jump around.
one of the really cool things is the bubble's going to show deterioration of health. So before there was not a lot of visual stuff with it, and what they're doing now is because you can shoot down the shield after a certain amount of time. It took 2 golden guns usually, or a Nova bomb or something like that. But now you'll see it, and at first it'll be it'll have particles all around. It'll be super solid. It'll look really smooth. And as you start to take damage, it's going to start to lose those particles, and it's going to break holes in it. It's going to kind of fracture a bit, and so you can physically see when it's about to break.
My question that when we were watching the videos before the podcast, he said it's going to have holes in it. I'm like, can I shoot through those holes?
I don't think
so.
so.
Yes, as the hunter that doesn't like run in there and like shoot people, like get people up close. I'm sitting here. I'm like, if I jump up and just look down through one of those holes, and just like catch one of them in the head, like through
I'm
a hole in the
guessing
bubble.
it's going to be
That'd
one
be
of those
awesome.
like really small fracturing holes, or maybe like cracks in it.
It's not going to be like a.
Yeah, I think it'll still all be a shield. It's more just a thing to let you know it's breaking down. Either way, really cool. So I'm excited about that. The shield is not just a defensive option, but also an offense, right? There's an option to throw it, bounce all over the place. It'll have a really cool purple trail behind it. You now have a shoulder charge with it. Basically, you just push your shield
So
through.
you can
someone.
march forward. It looks very like Reinhardt from Overwatch.
Yeah.
Like you just boom, and you just march forward towards something.
Yep. So if
And you
someone's
get shot in the
blasting
back.
at you, so you still have your back separated. So it gives you a lot of options. They said, you can go in, you can knock everybody down, and your teammates can come and clean up. So it's like a support role, but it's a very aggressive support role. So I like it. I think we need to get in and play it and see what it feels like and see what the weaknesses are and what the other classes are changed to, because we still don't know a ton about all the other classes. So I'm interested to see, but I think now the Defender class, it's not even called Defender anymore. It's called Sentinel, but it's now going to become a class that's actually viable outside of hiding in a bubble.
Exactly. It's one of those things like there's players at their team that they're like you and I, where that works really well because you play with multiple characters. I don't. I play as I am a hunter, and that is the extent of my reach. I'm not a super flexible player, and that's just how I am. But like you walk in there, we need to go somewhere. It's just like okay, stunk, walk forward, and I'll just be right behind you, like shooting people as we go.
Yeah,
like it's gonna be great. I'm excited.
I'm super interested in it. It gives you more flexibility. I think that's what they're kind of doing with all of the classes and with all of the stuff, is giving you more flexibility to do different things.
Yeah,
keep you from being shoehorned into it. They showed off one of the new Crucible maps, which is cool. The maps are all going to be smaller, obviously, because they're going to 4v4. If you don't know that, all their game modes. At first, I was a little bit concerned because it's less people on a battlefield. But all the gameplay I've seen of the Crucible, and we'll get into the beta here next week and find out more. But it seems really good. It seems really smooth and tight. It just kind of hones it in a little bit more. So in Control, it's changed a decent amount, and I'm sure the other modes have changed too, but this is the one they decided to talk to us about this week. No longer increased capture rate based on how many people are in the bubble. It actually makes sense now that there's three spawn points, 4 people. It's kind of hard to get multiple people on anyways.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
That's cool. I think
if you have the one guy or 3 guys in and captures,
it's always great because there's always something that's super frustrating, like when you're capturing a point, especially if you're in the middle. If you're at B and you're capturing that point and they just run by you, you're like, "What? Where are you going? Why are you leaving me? I'm gonna die here!" And then immediately, like, bop, bop. So it saves that time. I also like the other thing they changed about it is that they auto captured the point you're just closest to.
Yep.
You spawn in next to C, it's already yours. Because that is a waste of time to go get it.
It really is. Because, I mean, then what, and they made a good point that it forces everybody basically to be. You can push and go get the other person's spawn point.
Yeah.
Or the entire, like, 8 people collide right there on B in the first 10 seconds of the match. And that's what it's there for.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And the other thing is you don't have to neutralize the point anymore. You just start capturing it when you go in. So it makes the whole process a little bit faster, and the scoring system is different.
Was it like that in Call of Duty? Like back in the day with domination? Like did you just jump up and you capture the point and you leave, you didn't have to neutralize it first?
I think so.
I can't remember because I know like Battlefield.
It's roughly half
Battlefield
half.
recently.
Yeah.
You have to neutralize it still.
Yeah,
like
you
almost everything is like, all right, you neutralize it first, then you capture it. So it's kind of nice to go to the.
Yeah. So it's exciting. I mean, with smaller maps, it's almost a necessity at this point. But the scoring system is more simple in that it's not like assigned like 100 points or 50 points or 10 points or 20 points. It's just you get a point for each kill for every zone you have. So if you have 1 zone, you get 1 point per kill. If you have 2 zones, you get 2 points per kill. And if you have 3 points or 3 zones, you're in a power play. And what does that mean? You get 3 points per kill. That's it. That's the scoring. Done.
Yeah.
You don't get points
you
for
get one
holding
zone.
it.
Somebody shoots one person. You haven't had any kills yet. You now have 1 point.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's just easier
hate
than the
keeping
numbers.
track of like, oh crap, like we're racing to 70,000 points. How many points do we have? How many points
divide
we
by
per
it?
kill now?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, by the time I'm thinking there, I've already died twice, and now we're behind.
Maybe that's like just an us problem, but this is a welcome change for me. So already makes me think. And the little gameplay I've seen, I don't know how much you've watched of the new PvP stuff, but it seems like the time to kill is a lot longer. And so it's less of a reaction-based thing and more of a skill-based thing.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm
like,
down with.
So, I mean, because that's always the big concern, right? In Call of Duty, it's like if you're the first one, if you're not the first one to react, then you're dead. It doesn't matter.
You have to catch them.
In this, it takes a while because like you can get the first couple shots in them, but what if it's going to take 15 or 20 bullets? So it seems like that may be a little bit better. It may be more difficult, honestly. So
I like that because it's just like, for me, I mean, to go back to it again, Battlefield, Battlefront are that very same way. Like, you know, time to kill is long.
Yeah.
So you don't see guys going at the end of the map, at the end of a match with, you know, a 50 and 10 KD. It's like, good amount of kills, 20.
Yeah.
You know, I like that because it's in the, like, I really worked for every kill I got, and I did a good job staying away from being killed.
Yeah.
So I feel better about my score at the end of that.
For sure. So moving off of the PvP Crucible type stuff, they had a lot of talk about Destiny's story.
Boy, did they ever!
And it's been a big question.
It's as if it was a problem in the first game.
And so I mean, everybody's talked about the story, and we know that the first game was lacking. It lacked some direction. It did have a huge rewrite 6 months out that caused a lot of just a lot of broken pieces, a lot of things glued together just to make it work, and it just didn't always click well. So they've made a couple different videos about it. One was how they, you know, their vision for a sequel, and their other one was like what Destiny's story looks like to them. And there were obvious shortcomings. They had acknowledged that there was, but they said that this way they're putting story every facet of the game, right? Different ways to interact with the story, basically in every activity, everywhere. Soup to nuts, I think he said, which I'd never heard before, but that's apparently a thing that people say. So. Whatever, soup to nuts. So one of the guys said that there's so much story. He said he thinks that people will be complaining that there's too much story.
Yeah, he wants people to complain. He's like, I want to read that Reddit thread. There's too much story in this game.
So I mean, I'm excited. I'm nervous when they talk it up that much that we're gonna have empty promises. But I mean, from the little we've played, from where Taken King went, and where Rise of Iron went, and the later DLC and stuff like that, how it started to do that. It's exciting to me, and I'm glad that they're bringing that story in a lot of different ways. They talked about Grimoire in game. They say that the lore is really good for the game, but it was a niche because it was outside the game. It was hard to get to. You just didn't really know what you were doing.
You go through and just like read, because it wasn't like you're reading like 4 or 5 lines of text.
Yeah.
Like you're reading like pages.
I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of Grimoire cards.
That someone took the time and people were really into it.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I haven't read the cards, but I've read people's summary of the cards, like different events and stuff in the cards.
That's the thing. I don't really take in information well by reading.
Yeah,
it's just not a way I learn. I'd rather just be like Tell me, please.
Experience it in the game.
Exactly.
So that's what they're doing this time. They didn't really talk about what that looks like because obviously we'll kind of get into it when we get the game. But bringing that into the game, they said they want to have that lore more accessible to more people.
Yeah.
And so I think it'll be good. It seems silly that we're praising them for putting lore in the game.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at with Destiny.
It's one of those things. I also like that they talked about, it might not have been in this section, it might have been somewhere else, but they gave more purpose to what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, we were doing it before just to do it, and now it's like, all right, why are we doing it? Oh, because we're doing it to this, that, and the other reason. I'm like, that's the hook I need to stay involved in something like Destiny. Because when you were there at the 250-hour mark, I was kind of like, I kind of feel like doing something else. I know that sounds ridiculous at 250 hours in to be complaining that I don't have anything to do.
Right.
But it's just like, I don't have a hook because we're doing it again to do it again. And so I'm kind of looking forward to here's why.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
and I'm curious. Cool. I'm curious how well that holds up at the 200 or 300 hour mark.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily the answer to it, but
it might not be, but maybe it holds me in for a little bit longer.
It's that motivation. It's that why do we want to do it? And it's that idea of creating relatable characters and creating relatable stories and storylines. And they said that you can line up with, that you hear and you feel, and you're like, yes, I am sold. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
And that's something that was missing in the first game. It didn't bother me, but it's one of those things, like looking back on it, that'd be really sweet to have.
It would hold me out for longer on the front end to push me further into the back end of it.
So it's awesome. It's great. One thing that was really cool, they said that what they've been doing in Destiny 1 and D1, which they kept calling it because they're so cool.
D1 and D2.
D1, D2 is they're setting the foundation, right? They're building a world. They were creating this huge expansive thing, right? They asked a lot of questions, didn't answer everything, left a lot of things open-ended, and it's like now they have spent so much time on building this world. Now they can just tell like huge cinematic stories because you don't need to know the backstories for a bunch of stuff anymore. You know them all, or you know enough of it to figure it out.
No, they don't have time to explain what they don't have time to explain.
Exactly. So it's really good. It all sounds great. It feels genuine to me when you listen to these guys talk. They're just so excited. Right?
They are.
All of the Bungie guys, and you can tell that these guys are probably not always the ones that are on camera, right? These are the guys behind the screens, like making stuff, playing the game, making tweaks to it, and they're just excited. Like we watched one of them today that was it was from the Sentinel class as I was rewatching it, and this one of the effects guys,
effects designer,
he just did sound effects for like half of his interview, and it was awesome. He was so excited. He was like pew 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 pew, and he just like doing stuff with his hands. You could see it in his face, and with somebody like Luke Smith, he's very excited about it. And Mark Noseworthy, is that his name? He's very excited about it. Clearly,
it's cool to see non-PR people, in front of the camera, being excited, because PR people are paid to be literally your job is to go out in front of people and be excited for this game
and sell stuff.
But it's cool to see the designers on screen like, this is going to be really cool.
Oh yeah. Another one that they haven't really talked about, but we see it in clips from now and then, and they did have it. I think it was playable at E3, but Fist of Havocs is a little bit different. That's the lightning super for Titans. It's not just a huge jump up and smash now.
Yeah.
It's very reserved, like a quick smash. Seems like it's probably
like a human-sized jump.
Yeah. So it's much quicker, less delay from when you push it to when you land. Probably a little bit smaller area of effect, I would imagine.
Boy, one would hope so.
But you don't just do it once. You could do it and then run off.
That's why I hope the smaller area effect, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, I've jumped away from many Fist of Havocs and still been hit on my way backwards. Yep. And if that's going to happen multiple times in a match, boy, howdy. I can't get on Reddit fast enough to be Bungie, please nerf.
Yeah. So it looks interesting. I really want to see how they change all of the supers and all the classes, because I do want it to feel like new stuff.
Yeah, that is something that on a surface level concerns me a touch from what we've seen so far. 'Cause we've seen like, oh, look at the new Titans supers. Like there've been several new things for Titans. Like, look at this cool new Warlock supers, and it's like, yeah, hunters are gonna get new stuff. We'll get back to that later. And I'm gonna like, wait a minute, hang on. Yeah, I want new stuff.
I feel like they're gonna give us stuff with hunters. If we, we'll see. We don't really know. Like I said, I would love to imagine that there's more for them. I just hope they don't.
Oh, I'm sure there is. It's just one of those things like,
the way it's being marketed right now.
Titans and Warlocks, just their supers look cooler.
Right.
Hunters are it's very just like a quick jumpy character, so it's like supers don't look cool because it's just like
Yeah, it's not really great for
They're
marketing.
very quick hit things. So I'm
Right.
like, it'll be there. It's just like, man, I wish I could see it now. I'm impatient. That's all I need.
For sure. So, but it is cool to see the changes that they're making in these classes and improving them rather than just carrying everything over.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't gotten to see yet is the skill trees. It's supposedly a lot different. They didn't talk about it in the videos that we watched, but they're supposed to have different paths basically. So there's a few it seems like there's going to be less options. Like if you want this perk, you have to go down this tree and you get these things. If you want this perk, you have to go down this tree, get these things. You can't have this with this and that with this.
Yeah.
So we don't really know. It's just kind of like the visual we've seen and like the things that people say on Twitter. So we aren't really sure. They're hopefully going to be talking about skill trees as we get closer to it. Coming up later today, they have another PvP reveal. They're revealing a new game mode. July 14th, they've got the Sounds of Destiny 2. Beta goes live the next week. Closer look at combatants, July 19th. I'm circling my calendar for that one. I don't know what that means. Are we talking about a new race? Are we talking about just the Red Army? Like, what does that look like? And then there's some other stuff down there that they'll get into. So we got a good 2 more weeks of content that they're drip feeding to us. Could all this be placed in 2 or 3 big articles? Sure.
Yep.
But come on now. We wouldn't be clicking on
not how marketing
IGN
works.
every day like that. They did talk about a new public space. This was one of the first videos they popped out a week and a half ago. Ooh,
How's
sorry.
it going over there?
Oh, I think I'm dying. So, new public space farm. It's supposed to be roughly at least twice the space of the last one. All of the spaces that we're seeing are supposed to be a lot bigger than the first game, so that's really exciting. This fits
It's exciting on a certain level of like, okay, if you make the space bigger, you best not just spread everyone to all corners of this space.
Right, there better be more
'Cause
stuff to do.
Let me tell you, I'm not gonna run across like, oh, I need to go Caesar on this end of the map, but freaking the Cryptarch's over on this end of the map.
Right.
Like, what the heck are you doing to me?
Get my sparrow out and go through this.
Yeah, so if you allow that in the public space, by all means, make it as big as you want.
So it's supposed to fit 26 people, including you. So it'll be you and 25 others. Familiar vendors, you got your gunsmith, Cryptarch, postmaster, all that good stuff.
Yep.
There's activities in the space. They haven't really talked about what they are, but by doing those activities within that space, you can draw attention to yourself. Whether it's making you run faster, add some like cool effect to you,
Or if it's playing more on like that vent in the tower.
Mm-hmm.
You go up and hit the button, you can blow.
Oh yeah,
people over to
I'm
the
sure it's a lot like
more
that.
stuff like that, but it's just a little bit more obvious that you're doing it.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember when we first ran into that, I'm like, what the heck is making me jump?
Right.
And then you look up and you see some dude just standing there.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be a ton of stuff like that. They also are gonna have a full soccer field
Yeah.
with a soccer ball
and a scoreboard.
scoreboards and like nets and stuff, so you can play around with your buddies while like people are getting stuff from their vault or getting ready for a raid or things
What
like
if you
that.
hop in and be like, you start a game. So like,
What if there's gonna be a trophy for it?
that's well, yeah. I'd be willing to bet there's some kind of trophy for
yeah.
it, but I wonder if you hop in and you're like, start game with X people or whatever. So like you don't just like run in or like, how does the scoreboard know when to reset?
Yeah.
Is my
It
question.
looked like they had like 3 lights at the bottom of the goal, so I'm guessing it's like first to 3.
First to 3 and then just
So you come in and like you queue in and then you wait for X amount of people to get there and then boom, first to 3 or whatever.
Or you just like jump in, play with
Sounds exciting.
26 people.
And so they're supposed to have more activities like that and things going on. So there's more stuff to do rather than just visit your vendors and get your
Yeah.
bounties. So the new social space looks cool. There's new characters coming and going, new NPCs, all that kind of stuff. They didn't tell us a lot. They just showed us what it looks like. That'll be really cool. I'm excited for it. The social space will be briefly available in the beta. It will be on Sunday afternoon, the 23rd, for 1 hour, a 1 hour block. It's basically just stress testing.
Destiny's just gonna break.
Yeah.
That day.
But if it doesn't, then they're ready for launch.
Yeah.
So I will be interested to see. I won't get to play that because I will be traveling for that. So I'm going to rely
Jake
on
will
you.
play and try to take.
You
copious
may
notes.
be able to play on Sunday afternoon. It just kind of
Maybe.
depends on what. I can't remember the window. I don't remember if it works for you or what.
If it's
But
pre-order, folks.
well, so it'll be open for everybody. The way the beta works is if you pre-ordered, you get access on July 18th for PS4 or July 19th for Xbox, right? We get a day early on PS4 if you pre-order. The open beta for everybody starts the 21st, so that Friday. So everyone's content is the same. It's not as much as the first beta, which I get because that
First
was
beta was a chunk.
it was a chunk, and then we realized that was a third of the game. So it's the first level You get to play the first level. You get a strike, and you get the two new PvP modes, and you get the brand new classes for each of brand new subclasses for each of the classes.
Yeah.
So you got your Void Titan, you've got your Solar Warlock, and you've got your Arc Hunter.
Yep.
Doing pole dancing or whatever he does. I don't know. It's a
What I
hunter.
do
Who
best.
cares? So it'll be cool to play it. It won't be near as much time in it as we did in the first beta, where you leveled up a character and did like 4 missions and did patrols and stuff. I don't think they're going to have patrols open. If they are, correct us. I'm pretty sure we're not at this point. It'll just be good to get in and play.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it, so I will be jumping in Tuesday, and I will do all my playing on Tuesday because Wednesday I'm going out of town until Monday. So I will have a nice big swath of like, I'm not playing. I'm going to stay off of Twitter.
I'm just gonna text you a ton while you're gone.
Just send me screenshots.
Yeah. I'm gonna take
Look, James, I went 0-30 in the new Crucible.
Yeah.
It was a 20-kill game. I don't know what happened.
I don't know how this.
I walked
happened,
off
but
the
I did it.
side 14 times.
Yes, I'm going to pre-order the game, but that is not a this next
I mean, you
paycheck
gotta
situation.
wait for your. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. They do have an open beta, and
That's kind of the saving grace of it. If
Really,
there was
you've
no
got
open beta, I would find a way to pre-order it
Yeah.
for the beta.
yeah, I mean, once the beta's done on the 23rd, then we're pretty much done until September 6th. So there's not a huge benefit. Only reason I did it is because I had a couple gift cards at Best Buy that were unexpected. So I got the season pass for it. People are like, oh man, I can't believe you're ordering the season pass. Blah 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 blah.
Like, do you know how much time I spent with the first Destiny game? I feel good about ordering.
Yeah,
This is,
it's fine.
yeah. This is not a let's stop pre-orders situation with a sequel to a great game.
Exactly.
All right. Moving on
Move
from
on.
Destiny to, as always, the last segment in our podcast, The Drop. For those of you that don't know what The Drop is the weekly releases for PlayStation. So if you're an Xbox gamer or PC gamer, I'm sorry. Maybe someday in the future, when we care, we will get to your games. But right now, these are the games that we would play. So
If you guys
bear
have
with us.
the same fancy articles for your Xbox and PC
It's
as new games for the week, let us know.
I'm going to go ahead and stop you right there. We are not reading weekly releases for PC, period, because we don't have 6 hours to do this podcast and go through lists upon lists upon lists of new PC releases. If you have like
A top 10 list.
Yeah, if you have the version of The Drop for Xbox and maybe a top 10 list for PC, we'll get into just
Comment.
releases.
Let us know, and then we'll start doing that every
Yes,
week.
we
It'll be
will.
fun.
All right.
Okay with
So if you're curious about this part of the show, we do just go through this list live on the show.
So
for
I'm
you.
literally looking at the first screenshot on the drop here. Not even like the titles, but I think it's a shot from Final Fantasy 12. Is that lady like half naked with rabbit ears? Are those?
She kind of looks like rabbit ears.
It's weird, right?
It is
It's weird. Anyways,
Yeah, it's definitely from Final Fantasy.
yeah, it's Final Fantasy 12, original 2006. It's a HD remaster.
Speaking of which, Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age improves upon the PS2 classic, now more beautiful and easier to play than ever. The high-definition remaster introduces several modern advancements, including a reconstructed battle design and a revamped job system. Players both returning and new to the game will experience a grand adventure that spans the world of Invalis?
Ivalis.
Ivalis?
I don't know. I've
Whatever.
heard very conflicting things on this. It's one of those you either like it or you hate it. Doesn't have the same turn-based system as the previous games. The Final Fantasy 11 that came before this was an MMO. Final Fantasy 10 was kind of like everyone's like, "Oh man, we're gonna get a follow-up to this," and then 12 came out. You're like, "What?" And I did read some of this on Reddit today, but I guess the graphics are good, but they're not like outstanding. It looks like they reused a lot of assets. That the remastered version just wasn't. There wasn't a bunch of
Put the
improvements.
high definition like wipe on it. Like, all right, cool.
Just took off the bars on the side. That's pretty much it.
They just like
I don't know.
stretched it out.
I don't know. I've never played it. I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, me neither.
So you take that with a grain
It
of
was, just,
salt.
it was the title thing.
Make
and
sure
I
you
saw
Google
there.
it, okay?
Yeah.
Just Google it.
Don't pre-order it. Here we go, guys. Don't pre-order it. Don't buy without reading reviews. Like, look up stuff for it. See what everybody's thinking about it. Find fans of the game. See what they think, and then make your decision.
That's weird.
It takes you maybe an hour.
All right, what else we got?
The one right below it, just because I don't know what it's about, and
Whoa.
just the game art is just like kind of like a buff dude surrounded by scantily clad women.
Yep.
And it's called Frisky Business.
Frisky business.
Frisky Business. How do you turn down frisky business, folks? You are Mr. Falco Frisk, private detective of Frisk Investigative Solutions. Develop your relationships with your team as you take on your very first case. Tell me, James, what is this game about?
Porn.
How do you play it?
This is porn. I mean, this is one of those novels, right? And what it is, where it's just characters on the screen and they change poses as they read their text
like,
aloud, right?
Huh.
Yeah, it's like a step away from porn. Come on.
I
now.
don't get it.
Whatever. It's boobs.
Next up, Hunting Simulator.
Hunting
Almost
Simulator.
the grand opposite of that last game. In Hunting Simulator, discover distinct hunting areas and complete hundreds of objectives alone or with your friends. Explore varied environments, track your prey, and become a better hunter.
So this may bother no one but me, but why do they have the actual box art with the PS4 header and like the T for teen symbol at the bottom?
That's just the thing. Like,
come on,
they
now.
didn't like send the art. They sent the game case art. They sent the actual cover art.
I don't get it.
It's just so funny. This is one of those games that like I would pick up on a sale just for fun. I played Dangerous Hunts.
Yeah.
Like, and that game was fun. Like, it was kind of fun because the only level that sticks out in my mind is like because the animals like fight you back.
Ooh, that's
It's
different.
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's like if you like shoot them, they don't like run away. They come at you. But there was a level where you had to like escape the woods, and all you had was a knife, and you were being chased by wolves.
That sounds awful.
It was crazy, and like you could get away from the wolves for a second, but you could get lost. And so I would like mark the trees with my knife and be like, "Oh crap, I've been here. I'm going the wrong direction."
Yeah, this definitely looks
Just like a hunting sim.
like you're hunting. Like the animals aren't fighting back. It's just
this looks like one of those like mindless games that I would get. Just for
makes
fun
me
in
think
a
of
really
like
down
Farming
time.
Simulator and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously a bit different.
Maybe there's a big cult following for this as well.
You see, experience the thrill of hunting with a campaign mode of 111 missions. Track 37 species, each with realistic animal behaviors.
111 missions.
17 different firearms. 12 vast regions in Europe and North America.
111. Okay, I can get it at a certain level because the kind of person that's been looking forward to this game has not played another game that was not hunting. And they're not listening to this show, so I don't feel bad about that. Minecraft Story Mode, Season 2, Episode 1.
Oh, they're doing a season 2 of it. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
now that Jesse and the gang have vanquished the Wither Storm, saved the world, and become totally super famous heroes, life has gotten a bit more complicated. With more responsibilities and less time for adventure, old friendships have started to fade, at least until Jesse's hand gets stuck in a creepy gauntlet that belongs to an ancient underwater temple.
I mean, at what point are they just like cashing in just for the sake of money? Like
always, because that's what business is.
I know, it's just like, I don't know. It's just interesting for me.
Oh, dude, Mr. Shifty.
Spoiler alerts if you played the first season, I guess. They vanquished the Wither Storm.
Spoiler alert for this game, you win. It's some bullcrap. Thanks a lot for that, Telltale.
Right.
Tweet at Ryan Clements, let him know this is spoilers, and keep that kind of crap out of the drop.
So rude.
I don't think his name is at Ryan Clements. I'm going to look that up real quick because I always mention
It seems really important.
I always like mention it as a joke, like tweet at Ryan Clements, whatever it is. I always forget his. Is it at the top of the drop? Don't look. Find another game.
Don't look for another game. I don't.
Palm Cider. PWAMCIDER. Palm Cider. Ryan Clements.
That's probably how he hides from people. Just makes up his Twitter handle.
Well, he used to work at IGN.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mr.
You know,
Shifty.
I'm not seeing a lot of stuff. Yeah,
I saw Let's Play. Achievement Hunter was playing through Mr. Shifty for a long time, so it kind of caught me.
Looks weird.
Shift through bullets and master lightning fast takedowns and an only kind of action game from Tiny Build and Team Shifty. Mr. Shifty follows a teleportation fueled heist to break into the world's most secure facility. It kind of reminded me of like Hotline Miami.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. But if it has anything to do with stealth, no thanks. Heist equals stealth. James is no good.
It's not. I don't think it's really stealth. There's
You think so?
Transport Giant. Be a transport tycoon. That looks
Ooh,
boring.
I'd love to drive it. You would be a train.
It looks like crazy boring. Sorry about it.
Yeah, nothing crazy exciting
Boy,
here.
The art for Yama Yama. Plays one of the armless rejects in the Yama Yama Arena of Joy.
Wait, hold on.
Your goal is to impress the flat god faces of you Underverse by fat suiting your opponents into oblivion.
Okay, now I might need to go watch a trailer on
All of a
this.
sudden, I'm interested in Yama Yama or Yama Yama or Yame Yame. There is no
Boy, that link is
pronunciation
not
guide
working for
on the
me.
drop.
We're gonna go.
And I
I'm gonna go look
apologize for
that up.
butchering
We'll
that.
watch that. And
For our good friend Duff, because I
Yama
know
Yama.
he likes motorcycles.
Oh yeah.
MotoGP 17,
Hmm.
2017 edition of official MotoGP video game. It's motorcycle racing. So there you go. I'm not gonna read the description because it kind of speaks for itself.
Can't figure it out
If
from
it was any
there.
more obvious, motorcycle would have driven through the living room by now. So
Hey guys,
Ew.
so we, if you're noticing, we lost the last bit of our recording for the podcast. The audio dropped out because Audacity hates me.
Because why not?
Doesn't hate him, it hates me. So that was it for the podcast. We
Pretty much.
highlighted MotoGP just for you, Duff.
You missed a train wreck of an ending though, so sorry about that.
This is true. It was not good.
Let me just turn on the audio and the video recording, but we need to start doing
All right, so that's going to do it for this week's podcast. We appreciate all you guys liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, all that stuff.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at IR Games,
So,
and we'll tweet at you with more stuff throughout the weeks.
Mhm.
Thanks for hanging out.
see you guys. Bye.